Party people, what's good, baby? It took about 24 hours, Brooksy, and then all of a sudden, the free agent frenzy that we were all anticipating kicked in.
Yeah, it takes time, man. That's a lot of people are like, what's this so boring? I thought it was going to be fun. No one just goes, hey, bud, you healthy? Okay, good. Here's $300 million.
Well, keep in mind, too, I think it was Eno Harris of The Athletic that put this out, too, that nobody wanted to be caught negotiating during the lockout. You know what I mean? Like if you sign somebody the first minute.
So basically they had contact, but they can't just be like, lockout done. Here's our new shortstop.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And I actually don't think there a whole lot of tampering going on, just because I don't know. That doesn't happen as much as you would think it happens.
I read online, I believe it was either of MLB.com or it might have been The Athletic. Forgive me for whoever did report this, but Mark Kotsay was named a new Oakland A's manager. He's been with the A's for a while now. He's buddies. I mean, he's a former player. He's buddies with a lot of the players.
He was one of my hitting coaches in San Diego.
Good guy, right?
Yeah, great guy.
Good player too. I almost said Josh Donaldson, a former Oakland A, but Matt Chapman texted Mark Kotsay after Kotsay got the job, and I did it again. I said Donaldson again. Matt Chapman texted Kotsay, and then Chapman never got a response from Kotsay. And so Chappie said he was a little salty that Kotsay ghosted him, but that's just all part of the nature of the beast and nature of the lockout, I guess.
No, it's not. Kotsay's just big time.
Kotsay should have gotten a burner phone is what I was saying. Kotsay, you get a burner phone, you text your players, and you just say, I'm not saying this isn't your new manager. I'm not saying it is your new manager, but what's up, fellas?
Right. So, yes, we do have moves going on. No big names yet. As of, let's see, we're recording this at 1:10 Eastern time on March 14th, Monday. As of now, no big names. I would expect, I think Rizzo is going to end up in New York, like I called from the beginning.
That could be the immediate response.
I don't think they get a shortstop. I don't think they sign a shortstop. Hear me out on Correa.
Not after getting Kenner Falefa.
Yeah, well, dude, he's really good defensively. He just swings a wet paper towel.
Yeah.
But, okay, hear me out on Correa. What if Correa signs a 1-year deal with Houston because no one wants to pay him $300 million?
So here's the thing.
I don't think that happens, but it's out there.
His ego is going to get in the way of that, though, and his injury history.
For sure. I mean,
you really want to put that on the line?
He played 58 of 60 in 2020 and played 148 last year. So
yeah,
the last 2 years he's been very healthy.
Speaking of injury concerns and at shortstop, we'll get into Carlos Correa in a second. Put it on hold.
People think Trevor Story needs TJ. So who knows? Like
Fernando Tatis Jr. That's just coming in at this hour when we're recording this podcast. That's huge. So
literally just talked about it on CBS.
So I said this last year when I was brought on a San Diego radio station when Tatis was dealing with his injury, shoulder injuries. And I said this then, and I want to reiterate it now. What you don't want to have happen in San Diego is you don't want Fernando Tatis Jr. to turn into an Aaron Judge. And I say that with all due respect to Judge, because Judge is one of, top 5 player in Major League Baseball when healthy. Totally. The problem is they rely on him so much, and he's not available at all times. So they're constantly trying to fill that void. And then that's
how much do they rely on him, though? Look at their lineup. They have some Manny Machado. Who they need to rely on more is Eric Hosmer.
He looks like he might be on his way out.
Can you hear my 3-year-old absolutely losing her shit behind me?
No.
She sounds like she's on fire.
She doesn't want Hosmer to leave. She likes Eric Hosmer. There's a report out there that Hosmer and Will Myers are being shopped from San Diego. Everything. There is, but AJ Preller just as well as I do, a lot more than I do actually, and let's know that.
Tatis for a minute. There's something I want to put out there. It's like they're saying optional surgery. He's going to have surgery. If they're saying he's going to miss up to 3 months, it's surgery.
We said that.
That means he's not a crack, because I got hit by a pitch and cracked my wrist, and it was 6 to 8 weeks. Seriously, 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, I'm superhuman, and I have like a really high pain threshold, but no, it was just like I broke like 3 little bones in my hand. I got hit by a pitch.
This is the same guy that stubs his toe and texts me he's out for 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay, when's that ever happened? Do you want me to get into why we're late to this podcast? Didn't think so. Okay. Anyways, so the point I'm getting to, slowly but surely, we saw okay, so I'm going to combat my own comment in a minute. When I came back from a wrist, inside pitches were really tough for me because you don't want to get hit in it. You really have to pull your hands in to get to those pitches. it's in the back of your mind, like my wrist still hurts a little bit, or is this going to hurt a little bit? Is it going to affect his bat speed? It affected mine. All right. So how much will it be in his head? That's my first question. Secondly, I'm saying maybe it won't affect it because he dealt with that mental side of things with his shoulder all year last year. Like, oh, am I going to swing? It's going to pop out. He made an adjustment, 2-hand finish. We saw even like the way he dove for certain balls, he wasn't fully extended a lot. And we saw him roll a lot. So he wasn't going, under here where it can pop out. So he made adjustments. So maybe the mental side of it, I'm just spitballing here, but it's like, I'm just trying to think of how this will affect him even after he misses 3 months. Because it's not just like he's going to step back and probably what we saw after the shoulder last year, first game back, boom, homer, 2-homer game, actually. Like I expect this to be a little tougher to come back. Hands and wrists are really tough for hitters.
Yeah. That's a real thing. And it's a history now. Like he's got injury concerns, and he has July 2018 season-ending surgery on his thumb, August 2019 season-ending back injury, April 2021 left shoulder subluxation, same thing in July 2021, and now he has the fractured wrist here in March 2022.
Well, good thing he still owed 13 years and about $310 million.
Money's not a concern for him, but
no, it's a concern for the team and the city and the organization. Yeah,
he's the heart of that team, and
you can't deal with this every year. No. You need to, out of those years, you better have 8 to 10 perfectly healthy seasons.
And here's the thing too. It's not just Tatis when it comes to the Padres. Everybody has high expectations when it comes to the Padres, but here's the thing. Dinelson Lamet hasn't shown that he can stay healthy. We don't know how he's feeling really. I mean, they say that good signs, but
they don't
really know.
He's not even listed in their rotation. He's listed as a bullpen arm right now.
Mike Clevenger is coming off Tommy John surgery. Chris Paddock, he's not ever injured, but maybe some Padres fans might want him injured at times with the way he pitches at times.
That's messed up.
There's a lot. Well, maybe not injured. But the point stands that there's a lot of question marks when it comes to the Padres, a team that is trying to compete. But until you show you can stay healthy, it's hard to believe in a team that can't stay on the field because we've seen it time and time again. It's the team that's most healthy at the end of the year that is competing for a championship.
Especially with your pitching. Yeah. Pitching, number one. But then, your star player, number two, because not only is he bringing stats, he's bringing energy, and you feed off of that as a teammate. And when you're missing that, it can be just kind of flat and dead sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes you can feel like shit and be like on an 0 for 12, and his energy can just pick you up. I had teammates like that. Johnny Gomes, a guy like that. I would feel terrible, and then he comes in just like loud and rowdy and messing with you and getting you hyped up, and all of a sudden you're like happy to be at the ballpark again. Mm-hmm. That's a thing.
They lost.
That's a part of being a teammate.
Year. They lost
part
last
of
year.
Chemistry, right? No, 100%. I mean, I think a lot of that had to do with their manager, and there was a lot of disconnect there. So the best, and I said this on Twitter, the best acquisition they made this offseason, even up through this, once we get done with the free agency, will be Bob Melvin.
Agreed.
He is clutch, and that is the perfect leader for a squad of young superstars like that.
Riddle me this. This is another L for San Diego because they thought they had a chance at getting Nelson Cruz in free agency. So did the Dodgers. The Dodgers missed out. Nelson Cruz is going to the Washington Nationals for 1 year plus a mutual option for the second year.
Porque why?
Explain that to me. Why?
Porque why, papi?
Not from the Nationals' perspective. Like the Nationals' perspective, I know why. You're trying to buy prospects. But from Cruz's perspective, why would you essentially want to be traded?
Go chase a ring. Go chase a ring is what I'm saying. Like, I think they offered him the most money. And I think at 42 years old, $15 million is amazing.
Yeah.
One other thing, and I love Nelly. I think he's amazing. He was always great to me. He seemed like a really good teammate.
You're teammates with him in Texas, right?
No. I'm just saying, like, he's always been known as a good teammate. I've just known him from playing against them, and like players union stuff and things like that. And I hate to say this, but there's so many people, and I'm going to make this negative, and I shouldn't, but there's so many people talking about how he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and all. Were we forgetting about the failed PED test? Everyone has forgotten about it.
That's not negative. That's objective facts.
It is, but I hate to. I don't want to bring that up because I like him so much. He made a mistake. Mm-hmm. He made a mistake. He cheated. And he paid his price, and I get that. But so many, even on like MLB Network, they're talking about he's going to be a Hall of Famer. No, he's based off of what we're seeing. No, he's not.
He's not.
If Alex Rodriguez isn't going to be a Hall of Famer, neither is he. And
David
this is one of the best right-handed hitters of this era, honestly. Yeah. So that sucks, but I'm curious. So how everyone just forgot about that. I think it's because he's just such a good dude.
Time heals all wounds. People forget, honestly. I think,
do.
but you know what? The writers don't when they do vote for the Hall of Fame. So to your point, there's no chance he's getting in. To your point too, he's one of the best right-handed hitters of all time, numbers wise. DH wise, he's one of the best DHs. Edgar Martinez, you mentioned Poppy. He's one of the best DHs of all time. But going to the Washington Nationals that are not going to compete, I do give their general manager, Mike Rizzo, a lot of credit. Not a lot of clubs would want to buy prospects for $15 million. He's essentially buying prospects because they're going to ship them off.
But I also think this is Juan Soto's numbers are going to be a lot worse without someone like that hitting behind him in the lineup.
Agreed. It's protection.
Who's behind him in the lineup?
Josh Bell.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was trying to think of some bop in that lineup. I mean, yeah, I was gonna say Carter Kieboom. They're still waiting on to kind of pronounce himself, but
nobody. So it's like this is protection for him. And if he's not right behind Soto in the lineup, I'm gonna throw up because you got to pick one of them, right? We got to pitch to one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna get Soto a lot more pitches to hit with runners on base. That's fact.
More good news for the Washington Nationals is that Steven Strasburg is preparing to have a healthy season. So that could be huge. Now, I'm not saying the Nationals are contenders by any means, but that's a good addition for Nelson Cruz. And then you get Steven Strasburg back, which is great too. Let's go back to your Carlos Correa point and tying it in with the Yankees. Now, the Yankees made a trade with the Minnesota Twins. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa's tenure with Minnesota lasted about 30 hours. He got traded to the Twins from Texas for Mitch Garver, and then the Twins then shipped Kiner-Falefa off to New York. This hilarious photos of Kiner-Falefa shaking the hands of Rocco Baldelli, who would have been his manager with the Twins. The Twins made this sweet graphic of Kiner-Falefa welcoming him to the city, and then again 30 hours of a tenure, and now he's in New York, and now he's going to be the shortstop of the New York Yankees, which is arguably the greatest position in all of sports.
Yeah, I mean,
Josh Donaldson is the main piece, of course, of that deal. He's going to be man in the hot corner. He got traded over to New York for
I've been trying to figure out this deal, and like the more and more I look at it, the more it makes sense. You know, I was thinking, all right, you're taking on $50 million. They've wanted to get rid of Sanchez for 2 years now. They just haven't been able to. I think that'll be good for his career too, just to hit the reset button and get around new voices and that pressure of the New York media off his back. I think that'll help him out a lot. And I was thinking, all right, New York's losing Urshela, who's one of their best players the last couple of years. He's super versatile.
Mm-hmm. Good.
But just thinking but I mean, I guess Khalifa, I'll always call him Khalifa.
I like it. I have a good stat for you on him though.
Wiz Khalifa. He can bounce around too, and he can pick it. We know how good he is defensively. He's just not going to hit like Urshela.
Yeah, he's a fellow Hawaiian. Shortstops with a 5 or more WAR and 230 or more hits since 2020. Trey Turner, freaking stud, MVP candidate. Tim Anderson, batting title guy. And Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, end of list. Those three guys.
Well, I want to see the defensive WAR though, because I guarantee his is higher than.
No, it is. That's a lot of that WAR that he has accumulated over the last 2 years, or I should say year and a half.
That's like Correa too. Correa's WAR is 7.2 because his defensive WAR is really high.
But that matters too. You know.
It does matter. It does matter. But especially most of the time you see WAR, you think offense. But yeah.
Yeah, like Matt Chapman's another guy. His defense really helps him in the WAR category, and people question whether he can hit at a consistent level. The rumors are flying in for Chappie too, and Matt Olson over in Oakland. We'll see where that lands. But the Yankees get a third baseman with a lot of pop, another right-handed bat that strikes out a lot.
Well, the left side of their defense just got a lot better, honestly, because they've had shortstop issues for a while now.
Urshela is nails at the hot corner, but at shortstop with Glaber, questionable.
We brought up this point last pod, but not this year, but next year. Let's say the shift's gone. Good defensive shortstop and a good defensive second baseman are going to be much more valuable. I want to shift gears just a little bit. Freddie Freeman. Do you think he goes to LA? Since this is lasting this long, I think he's working a deal out with the Dodgers. And it makes sense because you got David Price coming off the books, who's making $32 million this year after this season. And then Bellinger's going to be a free agent. So I think they let Bellinger walk after this year.
I don't know about that.
I do.
This season's huge because of
this season's huge because he
his
sucked
drop
last year.
He was terrible. He was at like 180.
And I think I could see them extending Justin Turner because he won't be as expensive as Bellinger would probably be. But man, if you're the Atlanta Braves, you can't let this man walk over a 6 year.
You can though.
Why though?
And I know I know I'm in the minority when I say this, but they won a World Series without Ronald Acuna. Like they're good enough. This isn't disrespect to Freddie. Freddie Freeman's one of the best hitters in
It's
this
more
league.
than that though.
I think the Braves are such a good team that they can still win a world. Not to mention expanded postseason. You just got to get in. This is why
I get that. But look at their young players.
This is why the players did not want an expanded postseason. This is why it was leveraged for them in the negotiations, because that's hurting Freddie Freeman's value in free agency.
I want Freddie Freeman's voice with those young superstars.
100%. I'm not arguing. I would love Freddie Freeman in Atlanta.
He teaches approach. He teaches like even kill energy. He teaches good defense. It's just like that calm leader, and you need that on your team. I know they can do it without him. I know they can, but why would you? Well, there's so many fans too that are like, it's your fan base too that don't want you to get rid of them. Now, Freddie also is a grown ass man and he can make his own choice. Like maybe he wants to go home and finish his career.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. That if he makes that choice, great. But don't be it because you got outbid. Just you had the money. If you want to keep them, you can.
I saw something out there that they led the league in revenue last year. Atlanta did. And
it went public.
Attendance as well. Like
that's the one team that went public.
So money's not the issue here. It's whether they want to give a 32-year-old first baseman that much money,
and whether he wants to stay.
To answer your question, though, I don't want to overreact too much to the Dodgers rumors, because this is what Atlanta allowed Freddie to do. They allowed Freddie to go out there and seek other offers. And so what Freddie is doing now is he's playing the field. Of course, he's going to go to LA and say, what can you offer me? Because now he can go back to Atlanta and say, all right, Alex Anthopoulos, what can you give me? So let's not overreact too much, but is it a possibility? Absolutely. He absolutely could.
It's 50-50 to me because it's home.
And Heyman's saying, don't forget about New York either. They're kind of,
I don't think he goes
less of a possibility, but that could be an option as well.
Nah, I think they re-sign Rizzo, honestly.
And of course, as soon as we ended this podcast, the news of Matt Olson being traded to the Braves dropped. So that means Matt Olson is going from Oakland to Atlanta. And of course, this happens after we just talked about Freddie Freeman. But regardless, here is your update. The A's are getting Shea Langeliers, Christian Pache, and pitchers Ryan Cusick and Joey Estes from the Braves. Matt Olson is headed to Atlanta. So that all but assures that Freddie Freeman, his departure from Atlanta, is all but certain at this point. So we'll keep you updated there, but let's move on.
I'm more curious. My biggest curiosity is Correa. And like, where the heck does Trevor Story go? We haven't even talked about him. I know he's not like top of the line. You know, he had a down year last year.
The suitors for shortstop is thinner than most would expect. And it's not just that teams need shortstops, but there's not a lot of teams right now that are in need of shortstops that can afford these guys. Like the Cincinnati Reds, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to go pay. They had Jonathan India at second base. They're not going to put him at shortstop. Right. They can't go out and afford a Carlos Correa, Trevor Story. They would love to have a Trevor Story. They can't afford him.
I'm seeing Trevor Story to the Twins is a thing.
I don't know if they can afford him. That's another team that needs a shortstop.
Trevor Story, I guarantee they can. He's not going to sign a mega deal, dude.
The Twins could also bump Urshela over to shortstop.
Trevor Story also hit 203 away from Coors Field last year.
Yeah, his splits are not good.
No, it was 251 on the season and 203. I don't know what he was at home. You know, split the difference, whatever. But he was 203 away from.
Nolan Arenado is a great player, but he actually, when you look at his season last year, he had a good season last year, all-star caliber season. But when you look at his season last year compared to his Colorado Rockies seasons, they all slacked off. Like I'm talking almost every category: power numbers, RBI numbers, hard hit percentage.
That outfield's big, man. Once you push those, and it's not even just the air. The air affects the homers, but they have the fence. It's like 350 down the line, right? Mm-hmm. So the longer you get down the line, the wider the field gets. That's wider the outfield is. So the outfielders are further apart. There's more space in the gaps. That's why there's so many extra base hits there, because the fence is further back.
Seattle's still, lingering in the dark here with money to spend. But I think
see Seattle sign Seiya Suzuki.
That's what I was getting to, man.
It's going to be between them, and Boston.
Giants are in it too. Giants are in the mix.
A lot of Japanese guys love Seattle, right?
Right.
Microsoft.
Yusuke Kikuchi,
Ichiro set the tone, yeah.
But he was in San Diego this past weekend.
Saw
which
that.
was interesting. He posted that on his Instagram story. And then I
Was
should
he
mention
hanging out
too,
at Ocean Beach? What's he doing?
he was in LA yesterday, though. He was at Nolan Arenado's hitting facility for a day. So he's been in San Diego. He's been in
He can mash,
LA.
by the way.
Have you, dude?
Dude,
I hate falling in love with these guys because I know it's easy to fall in love with a highlight tape.
I also want to see like the transition, like how does it fare here? Because it's a different game over there. It's pitched differently. The stuff is different. The game is just played differently. Small ball's a thing. I want to see. I mean, he had 38 pumps last year and he hit 317. So he's got it. I just want to see it translate.
He's not just a power guy too. Like I was watching him launch balls.
He's a Gold Glover too. He got 3 Gold Gloves.
One of his, I don't know if it's his home field or one of the main fields he played over there in Japan too. They have stands in left field and it just kind of drops, kind of like Wrigley Field, like how it's pretty easy.
Oh yeah, it's at
out of the stadium.
Hiroshima, I think
it might be, but he launches balls out of the stadium. I mean, he's dotting dudes that are pedestrians in the street. But what I like about him too is he can use all fields. Like he's not just a pull guy. Like he's hitting balls left and right. He has a pretty good 2-strike approach, was from what I was seeing too. Like he shortens up with 2 strikes. He's a really good player. He's not just a power guy, but going back to the Padres too, they just signed Ha-Seong Kim to $28 million last year. Now he was coming out of the KBO, not Japan, but still he batted like 202 last year and
similar game there.
So, and he was showing flashes of power and it hasn't happened. So there is always that, you want to be optimistic, but there's always going to be that pessimism when it comes to international guys falling in love with that highlight tape. Cause there's always that risk involved. Like you just said, it's not the same competition. Right.
And they're uncomfortable. They're away from home. Like they have to talk to their family, like in the morning, right when they get up, cause they're going to bed. Like that's a thing. That's tough. Let's wrap this up. Let's just make a couple predictions.
Where do you see Nicholas Castellanos going?
I'm going to go Giants. I like him with the Giants. I originally was thinking like maybe Philly, but I think Philly has a need for more guys that can contribute defensively because they have a lot of holes in their outfield. Castellanos isn't a great outfielder. I mean, Schwarber is not a good defensive player either, but he seems like a better fit for Philly just because their hitting coach, Kevin Long, was with him in Washington and they're boys. So I kind of tie guys like to go where they know people. That's a thing. So I think Castellanos is a good fit to DH for them because they have Wilmer Flores as their DH right now with Longoria, Darren Ruff.
It's the Giants'
Castellanos can go bang there, man.
No, he can't, but that's the Giants' way. Like they had Kris Brant.
I get it. They're analytical. They're gonna piece it together. I get it, but I think that would be a good fit. What do you think?
Castellanos to Philly makes a lot of sense.
But they're going to need him to play the outfield, dude.
He's not a good outfielder at all, but he can also DH if he's that bad. So the Giants do make sense too. I just don't know if they want to spend that type of money. And that brings me to Kris Bryant. I don't think the Giants want to spend the money on Kris Bryant. Kris Bryant's a Boris guy. Typically, Boris guys in the past take the most money available. He's incredibly movable around the diamond because he can play all around. I think Seattle's a great fit, as we've mentioned before. But I don't know if San Francisco wants to pay that money, especially after giving $44 million to Carlos Rodon, who is a really nice pick.
You notice I just fixed my hat because you're going to clip this when I get it right. Kris Bryant's going to go to Philly.
Because he's getting recruited by his fellow Las Vegan Bryce Harper.
Bingo. And it's a fit.
Yeah.
They need a third baseman. They need a guy who can also play outfield, and they need a right-handed bat.
Why did everyone just completely give up on Alec Baum?
They haven't. He just needs to play more. He just wasn't that good. He just really didn't have a position. He wasn't very good at third base. He's a little big. He's athletic. He's big, but they moved him to first and he just wasn't good over there, which you normally from third to first. I thought it was like so easy to play first compared to third base. You just have to tackle it, just knock it down and, just catch it. But But I think that affected his confidence at the plate, obviously, and it just snowballed. But I'm going Kris Brant to the Phillies. You heard it right here.
Yeah, it's going to be a shame when he's wearing a Mariners uniform and you have to apologize
you know what?
to me for being correct, because I'm always right and I'm never wrong.
I wouldn't even be mad. I would love in my mind, he looks so good in a Mariners uniform.
Mhm.
Like, it would just look so sick with the matte navy blue helmets. Oh, it would be sick. I would love that.
Where's Schwarber going?
I told you I think he's going to go to Philly. Just because of the hitting coach connection. I think Red Sox are on him too, but I just don't know where they would put him because they need a right-handed bat. They're strong after Suzuki as well because they need somebody who can play right field. He's a Gold Glover. So I don't know if Schwarber fits the mix. He's not very good at first base. I would rather see them give when they let Bobby Dahlbeck play more last year in the second half. He was he swung the bat really well.
Mm-hmm.
When they were messing around with him and sitting him for 3 days, then playing, sit for a couple days, then playing, there's no way you can get in a rhythm and play well. So I think Bobby gets a better look unless they make a big splash at first base.
And we talked about it before. Where do you see Seiya Suzuki landing?
I really think Boston pushes and signs him. I do. I think they have the money to spend.
Mm-hmm.
They have room, and it's a perfect fit because, and that's not just because I'm a Sox guy. It takes a special player to play right field at Fenway. It's tough. It gets narrow over there on the foul line in the wall, has the big curve around it, and it's huge in right field.
Mm-hmm.
Takes a really good defender. That's a good fit there, and I think he would just mash balls off the monster.
One thing we didn't mention, and as we wrap up here, how about the White Sox bullpen? Let's kind of conclude our podcast.
This is what their bullpen sounds like. You hear that? That's what the fastballs sound like as they're going to home plate.
They're spending some money on these dudes, but Liam Hendricks.
I keep seeing lists of all the guys in their bullpen. Why is Michael Kopech not on there?
He's going to be in the rotation. He's going to fill Carlos.
They're going to put him in the rotation. He was so good, like as a bridge guy in the bullpen, I thought.
He was, but he's ready, man. You don't want to hide him in the bullpen. I know he's a great bridge guy, but he's better than that.
No, I agree. And you know, he was coming off what, TJ too, right?
Yeah.
I think now he's had like a full year post TJ to play. I think now he's probably ready to stretch out. That's a good point. Use that stuff. They don't need him in the bullpen.
Hendricks, Craig Kimbrell, Kendall Graveman, Garrett Crochet, Joe Kelly, Aaron Bummer. All of those guys.
Kimbrell's got to figure it out.
Their average fastballs last year were 96 and above.
Is that good?
It's pretty good.
Kimbrell, once he came over from the Cubs, was not good for the White Sox. So there's enough guys around him to cover that up. So we're not really talking about it, but he's got to clean it up. He's getting towards the end of his career too. So you start losing a bit of velocity as a pitcher like that, not going to be as effective. Period.
There's so many moves that were made, man.
If he's able to land his curveball, he's good.
There were so many moves that were made over the last few days that we completely forgot to touch on the Blue Jays rotation, but we have a lot more to talk about as we get going. But that Blue Jays rotation with Gausman, UC Kikuchi now, Yunjin Ryu. They're going to have Pearson maybe as a bullpen guy, but he was their number one prospect. Like they have some dudes up there.
And we know they can mash too. So the Sox bullpen too, picking up Diekman and Strahm. They needed lefties, and those are two really good ones. So
we're going to end this pod because we promised a winner of the hat giveaway. Now, Brooksy's going to take off because he's got too many cavities to discuss with his dentist.
Come on, I haven't had a cavity ever.
I will stay on, and I will do the raffle because Brooksy doesn't care about your well-being nor your hat.
No,
I will do the raffle.
I want to stick around for this.
Okay.
Just hurry up.
It's great. Okay.
Hey, by the way, viewers, thank you. We've been averaging like 800 views and listens the past month. So
huge.
Thank you. Let's keep growing.
So to be considered, you had to have retweeted the tweet, the Free Wake and Rake hat giveaway on Twitter. You had to write a review on our Apple Podcast page and then essentially screenshot that and reply. And we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 replies. So that means we're going to do this random number generator.
By the way, these hats are so legit. This is like my everyday hat, man.
I get asked about these hats. I've gone golfing each of the past 2 weeks. I've had a person ask me every single time. All right. We're generating our winner. And by the way, we're going 1 through 5. And in order of the responses on the tweet thread right here, that's what I'm going for. So number generator 1, 2 through 5. generate, and number 3. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. David at LF Geek 34. You are our winner. He said, great listen. Honestly, did not realize that Middlebrooks was still around the game the way he is. Always liked him as a player. Him and Vietti provide great insights as I've gone back and listened to some episodes. I appreciate it, David. We appreciate
Was that
it.
your uncle?
No. He's our winner of our hat.
All I heard was David 34. Is that Big Poppy?
Dave Ortiz's burner, apparently. He's a big fan of the Wake and Rake, is what I hear. Go get your cavities fixed. We don't want stinky breath, but we'll be talking a lot of free agency, a lot of signing, plenty of trades to come. Until next time, party people. Peace.